Hey there fellow cake friends, this is Alexandria from Finespun Cakes and welcome to this week's tutorial. Today I'm going to show you how to make lilacs. If you're new here, welcome, and if you want to see more cake videos, don't forget to smash that subscribe button, and as soon as you're ready to go, give me a thumbs up and let's get to the tutorial. We'll get started here by cutting green 26 gauge wires into thirds using a pair of pliers or wire cutters. Next, you'll grab a few of them at a time and using the end of your needle nose pliers, hook them and then close the hook. The hook serves to grip the gum paste flowers as soon as you thread them on so that they're not going to fall off later when they're dried. All the tools and ingredients that I'm using for this, including my gum paste recipe, can all be found in the description box below, so go check that out. Next, you'll be coloring the gum paste. I'm using Sugar Flare Grape Violet and Pro Gel Navy Blue. I'm trying to achieve a very light lilac gum paste color for the base. And I'm starting here with a master color, which is just a smaller piece of gum paste that is very saturated. And then I'm gonna add little pieces of that to some white gum paste in order to color it a little bit at a time so that you don't overcolor it and have to continually add more and more white. So I want the color a little bit darker here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and add a bit more of the master color in and then knead that through. You want to keep kneading until there's no more streaks left of any of the master color. This will ensure that you get a nice even color for all of your flowers. So I'm happy with this color here. You can see it's a very nice muted lilac color. Now on to making the flowers. I'm tearing off a pea-sized amount of the gum paste and rolling that into a ball. Don't forget to cover your gum paste. And then I'm gonna roll one end gently into a cone. Then grab my cone tool and dip it in a bit of shortening and just wipe off any excess. Press that into the fatter part of the cone and gently work it up, making sure that the walls are even as you go, just like that. Next, grab a pair of small scissors and snip 4 times at even increments all the way around the flower. Open them up gently. And then for each petal, you'll pinch and then flatten it out. You want them to be flattened a little bit more lengthwise as opposed to widthwise because lilacs do have kind of longer petals versus their width. And once they're all fairly even, you can grab your Dresden tool. I'm going to be using the wider end of mine. Place the flowers between your fingertips and then gently press the petals outwards using the Dresden tool with your fingertip as the backing, holding it steady. What you're doing here is thinning out the inside of the petals and just making them a little bit more delicate. And then after that, you can pinch the ends very, very gently. They don't have to be all the same. In fact, it's better if all of your petals look a little bit different. It'll make them look a lot more realistic. Dip the hooked end of one wire into some gum glue and wipe the excess off on the back of your hand. Then thread it straight through the center of your flower. Press gently around the flower and work the gum paste, the stem part, kind of downwards just to make sure it's super secure on the wire and it's not going to fall off. Then I like to press the cone tool again into the center to give it more depth and just make sure it's really secure there. Then I'm going to play with the petals and make them all look a little bit different. So what you can do is push some upwards and some downwards, and you can even twist the petals in different directions. This just gives it a more natural look, like a real flower. I'll show you a couple more here so you get the idea. So if you guys have seen any of my other videos, thank you for watching. And you'll notice this one is a little bit different. I'm trying a little bit of a slower pace and a more real-time video. I'd love to know what you think about it, so leave me a comment in the comment section below and let me know. Now I'm gonna make some buds. So I'm gonna roll a piece of gum paste the same way I did before and make it into a cone. Then grab one of your wires and dip it and then wipe off the excess of the gum glue. Then insert it into the pointy end of the cone. You'll work it downwards just like this. Just gently rolling it between your fingers until it's thinned out. I'm gonna thin out the top just a bit so it's not too bulbous, it's a little bit more narrow. Then I'll grab the knife tool and I'm gonna rock it from the very base all the way to the tip. And I'm gonna do it 4 times around in even increments again. So I did 1 on each opposite end and then 2 perpendicular to those. And I'll just go around and kind of redo those lines if I find that they're not strong enough. And just play with it until I'm happy. You want all the buds also to look a little bit different, so don't be too fussy about the way they end up because you're gonna wanna make a lot of them. And here are 3 different size buds. You can make them bigger or smaller. Just make sure that they're all a bit unique in size and shape. Now we're gonna get to dusting. If you haven't seen how I set up my dusting station, you can check that out on the ranunculus video I made before. It's in the top right corner. So I have my cornstarch set out and I'm using 2 different colors. The top one is called King's Robe and the bottom one is called Fuchsia Purple. I also have a touch of raspberry color, which I mix in a little bit as I go along. So I'm gonna start by diluting a little bit of the Fuchsia Purple and then I'll slowly add in some of the King's Robe. And I wanna make a fairly dark color here because what I'm doing is just gonna be touching the edges of all of these flowers so that they can stand out. Once you have a color that you're happy with on your brush, you can just go around and touch the raised edges of the flowers. So I'm just brushing back and forth, not really into the crevices here. And I'm just going around the entire flower and just letting the petal dust kind of catch wherever it wants to. So I'm gonna make this one a tiny bit darker and add a little bit more dust right into the center. And don't forget to dust a little bit on the edges on the outside as well. So I'm putting a tiny bit of the King's Robe color directly into the middle. And there you have it, 1 flower done. I'll grab a second flower here to show you again. So I'm gonna be dusting just the edges again and letting the flower dust end up wherever it likes. And I want all of these flowers to look a little bit different, so I'll do some lighter and mix up the colors. You can do some with a bit more of the Fuchsia Purple and some with a bit more of the King's Robe, which is more of a cool purple. And I'll show you one more just so you get the idea. Then after this, we'll move on to dusting your buds. So as soon as you've made it through all of your flowers, then you can grab your buds and we'll dust those next. So I'm going to concentrate the color really on the tip of the buds and then it's going to fade into no color at the base. And that's pretty much it. So there are your completed lilacs. And I like to bunch them in groups of maybe 7 to 10 just to vary it a bit and they'll be ready to go for your cake. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And before you go, don't forget to head down to the description box below and grab my tool and ingredient lists so you can make your own lilacs too. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe and share it with a friend. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.